And in this episode of the Happy Hustle Podcast, we have on Dr. Kristin Comella, who is a world-renowned expert on regenerative medicine and stem cell scientist. Dr. Kristin Comella is a pioneer in the stem cell industry, and she has such an empowering and unique story of how she has fought for your rights as well as my rights to use our stem cells to heal our bodies. Let's dive into this episode of the Happy Hustle Podcast. Do you want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Kerry Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco-warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality. Yee! All right, Dr. Kristin Comella, my friend, welcome to the Happy Hustle Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. I mean, you are a world-renowned expert on regenerative medicine. You're a serial entrepreneur and you're a biohacker, but ultimately you are a happy hustler. And I am excited to get into all things about regenerative medicine, reversing chronic disease, human betterment, and so many other amazing topics. But before we get into all that good stuff, Dr. Kristin, what is something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
Well, I am a mother of two, and my kids are both in college. My son is a junior at University of Florida studying engineering, and my daughter is a freshman at University of South Florida studying biology. And they just got home a few days ago, and I'm officially ready for them to go back.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, the fact that you do all that you do and you're a mother and, you know, a wife and just you have so much going on. It's truly impressive. I am curious, you know, give us a little like backstory as like what even got you into regenerative medicine, into, you know, stem cell therapy and into this whole world of health.
Yeah. So when I was starting college, I was actually good at math, and not only was I good at it, I liked it. Which I think is not necessarily the norm and certainly not something that was pushed for females at the time, you know, math, science path. And so I had said to the counselor as I was going into college, I said, what's the hardest major? And she said, chemical engineering. I said, fine, I'll do it. And it worked out well because I was good at math, and, you know, really for engineering, you should be good at math. And when I was studying chemical engineering, there was kind of a new space that was coming to be, and I think it's more common now, but it was this concept of biomedical engineering. And there weren't separate departments at that time. So I had picked an advisor that would allow me to kind of do more of a bio specialty, but still in engineering, but I was still part of the chemical engineering department. And chemical engineering was a lot more processes. You know, most of the jobs that people were getting coming out of chemical engineering were like with chemical plants, or even there were jobs at Anheuser-Busch, you know, like doing the processes for, you know, producing beer, or, you know, the water plant, things like this. So that was kind of the traditional chemical engineering. And when I was finishing my bachelor's, I had gone on a couple interviews, and I remember sitting in the room, and it was for a chemical manufacturing company, a large one, and I was just thinking, oh my God, I cannot do this for the rest of my life. This sounds miserable. Maybe I made a mistake with chemical engineering. And so that's kind of when I said, well, I better go to graduate school and you know, do this more bio focus. And I found at Ohio State University, there was a professor there who was studying different protein pathways on cells and how we might separate cells based on the proteins that they would express. I said, okay, this seems more, you know, something I might be interested in. But honestly, I didn't have like a grand plan. I don't know. Maybe that there are humans that have that, like they have a grand plan since the time they're 5, like I'm going to be a doctor or whatever it is. It wasn't like that. I mean, it was just kind of like things would fall into my lap. Oh yeah, that seems interesting. I'll do that. And so I started graduate school and started studying the different proteins that cells would express. And in particular, I started looking at this protein that was expressed on something that was a stem cell. Oh, this is interesting. Stem cells. What is this all about? And so really, I started to think of myself as an engineer of the greatest machine ever made, the human body.
Yep.
When I started to view the human body more from an engineering perspective and everything that I had learned, in engineering school, that's when things started to change for me. And then it really did start to become a passion and something I was super interested in. As far as being an entrepreneur, I think you're born one or you're not. And I was born one. And I was born into a family of entrepreneurs. My father owned grocery stores growing up. And so, just kind of that entrepreneur spirit, and like, the family always chipped in and helped at the family businesses. Yeah. And people, oh, that's cool. Your dad owns a grocery store. You must get any food you want. So no, we get the expired food that nobody will buy.
Exactly.
And that's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's like the green meat came home. So just so that kind of spirit of an entrepreneur, and and just like that hustle of it. Like, I love it. I kind of thrive on it, and like starting businesses and having new ideas. I just enjoy that component. So I started my very first business when I was 16. Wow. And it was a DJ services business. Nice. And this idea was, it fell into my lap kind of deal. I was very into, at the time, it was like techno music, and more specifically what I was into was called break beats. And I became a DJ. I started buying records, and I got, 2 turntables and a microphone. And I would just like go to parties, and I would DJ, and I would bring my equipment, etc. And then when I was there DJing, somebody said to me, how much to hire you for, our upcoming party? And I was like, wait, people want to hire me to do that? I was just doing this because I thought it was cool and fun. And really, math and music, same, right? I mean, they're the same. So for me, I didn't even know that was a business. But then once it kind of hit me, I was like, oh, this is a wonderful business. So all through college, I was DJing all of the like fraternity, sorority parties. Nice. And like going around town, and, like at the hotel formals and this and that, and bringing my equipment. And so what a blast. And my mom said to me at that point, gosh, you're going to school to become this, chemical engineer, and you're probably just going to become a DJ. You're making such great money being a DJ.
That's funny.
Yeah. So
wow.
I did.
What a journey.
Yeah, I did eventually leave my DJ days, but I think it's a good fallback plan. If I need to go back,
amen.
I will. It's a lot of fun. You get invited to all the parties. So
true. Well, your journey it's remarkable that like where you started and where now you are at. And I know there's adversity along the journey, just like any entrepreneur. Like, it strikes, you have to overcome it, but specifically when we talk about regenerative medicine and your journey to, opening these facilities that facilitate stem cells and, biohacking and all sorts of really like cutting edge technologies. I am curious, like, what was that first business that you started in that medical realm? Was it Biohackers Health and Fitness, or was it one way prior? I know you founded US Stem Cell Clinic as well. You're actually one of the top 50 global stem cell influencers, which is such a cool title, but so it's like, I know you're huge into this world now, but what like started you into this world specifically?
So when I finished graduate school, I began working at a startup. And I love the startup because startup and entrepreneur, same, Yeah. So like I was at a startup that was in Maryland called Osiris Therapeutics, and we were doing stem cells for the knee. So at this point, this was in the late 90s. So like this was very early in the stem cell space. And I was kind of responsible for growing all of the cells. I was heavy in the lab at this point, growing the cells, which we would then use, for humans, injecting into their knee to help heal a meniscus tear. And at this point, really no humans had been treated. I think it was mostly, animals. We were doing some animal studies, and the first human treatments were around early 2000, 2001. And right before that, I had been working on a farm, because this is where we went to do the animal studies. And if you have any, yes, I've crossed PETA lines. I had to do it. And I do think, when it's time to get into heaven, I might have to explain myself. Yes, I tortured the goats and the pigs. I'm really sorry about it. I also ate a lot of them, and I still do. But
you also helped a lot of people because of that research.
Yeah, but my goal was help the people. So we were working on goats. They were goat knee joints. And what we would do is create an injury in the meniscus, which is a very common injury that humans get. So this was, and the knee joint of the goat, very similar. So then we would go in and inject the cells to see if we could heal the torn meniscus. And keep in mind, nobody was doing this yet. This was stem cells. We'd never heard of that. And so when we sacrifice the animals, we look at the joints, but we line them up and we remain blinded, meaning we don't know which ones we injected. We just give them random numbers. And so as I'm looking at these joints and scoring them, I can see either tissue growth or none. And it's starting to blow my mind. And this was my turning point. This is year 2000. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to change medicine as we know it. I'm sitting here looking at grown back meniscus. There's no drug on the planet that grows tissue back. And so I'm kind of going into the, I'm getting a future memory, and I'm like, we're going to grow hearts. We're going to grow, you name it, we're growing it. This is the future. At that point, I was a little bit naive and didn't necessarily know the power of pharma, or the power of government and the role in the whole thing. And it was just kind of yay, everybody wants to help everybody. And being the eternal optimist that I am, everything is awesome. Everything's always awesome. So super excited to dive into it. And then that's when kind of US Stem Cell happened. So US Stem Cell Inc. Didn't exist. The original company was called BioHacK, and we were doing cardiac treatments, injections in the heart, etc. And it was around 2007 that it was kind of you know what? I think we could take this straight to the clinic, because we're not making a drug. It's tissue out of somebody's body, injected in. This is more like a surgery. This is just we're doing a surgical procedure. It's bedside. We've got the doctors, and we don't even have to do the FDA, because surgical procedures are not regulated by the FDA. And so this is when it kind of took off. And we started doing all these clinical treatments. Now, at that time, I started a couple other companies. One was StemLogix, and that was a stem cell company for animals. Which kind of made sense, because I was fully tested on humans, ready for animals. So, we started doing some interesting stuff that made the news. They had at the zoo, the apes, and they can't do ACL surgery on the apes because they'll pick at it and they'll rip their knee out. They can't do so. So it was okay, well, we may as well put some stem cells, see if we can heal it. So we were healing the zoo animals, and then we started doing pets. Get your dog's knee, get your dog's hip dysplasia, whatever. So all of those kind of took off, but really the human side became the biggest deal for me. And the clinic just started to go gangbusters, and we were people from all over the country were coming. And at the same time, I started a side business of training other physicians to learn how to do this. Because it was okay, we can't handle all of it with just our clinic. We got to get some other people throughout the country. So physicians would come to us and learn. They would come 10 at a time, and we would sell out every training. And doctors wanted to learn about this, because they knew that today's medicine is so limiting. It's okay, what's your symptom? Here's your pill. And there's no pill on the planet that cures any chronic disease. So
well, and just what's so interesting, and coming from my own perspective of getting stem cells done with you and US Stem Cell Clinic, I just want to speak to the happy hustlers. Like, this is something that I've actually done already, and it was so transformative. I want to share this story because I actually tore my ACL playing soccer. I played, semi-pro for a while, and I tore my ACL. I got it initially repaired with surgery. I got the fake, or the patella tendon from my knee. They put it in my ACL, whatever. Like, I was out for 6 months. That was my first time I tore my ACL. The second time I tore my ACL, I called Dr. Kristin. I said, hey, I need some stem cells. I was biohacking a lot in my former company, and we had a relationship. So I got some stem cells with US Stem Cell Clinic in my knee. They pulled from my fat back adipose tissue, which is an interesting procedure in and of itself. Basically, I want you to explain it better than I do, but this is my limited understanding. You take the adipose tissue and you put it in a centrifuge, right? And then you spin it and it separates the stem cells. Then you re-inject it back into the area. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Look at me. So anyway, they did this procedure, shot up my knee. I was like, okay, yeah, let's see what happens. I wasn't really thinking much of it. I was like, hopefully it works. I actually was literally running within 2 weeks, playing soccer within 3 weeks.
Nice.
I mean, like, that's how fast those stem cells worked. It was mind blowing. So, like, to Kristin's point, it goes gangbusters for a reason with her business, because it works. Like, you're using your own stem cells to heal yourself. So for those people who are a little bit like reluctant with regenerative medicine, what would you say to that person, and why stem cells are so effective?
Yeah, and I just want to comment, like a client like you, a patient like you that comes in is ideal because they're taking care of themselves. So this allows the stem cells to focus on where you need it. So when somebody comes to us, it's important that they do kind of clean up their life, clean up their diet, clean up their mindset, just clean it up. And then the stem cells can really focus on where you need it. Those type of patients are going to get your best result, hands down. And the cells inside your body are designed to heal and repair tissues that are injured. So we don't want them distracted with other things. If you're in chronic adrenal stress and you're eating an inflammatory diet, and we're putting stem cells in, it could be kind of lost. So it is important that you create the appropriate environment first, and then we can put those cells where we need them, and they heal you. That's what they do naturally. And we're just putting them in greater amounts where we want them. So especially in a joint where there is a lack of blood flow. So there's not a lot of blood flow going there to help heal. So we just put the cells directly in. And you can see such nice results. And at this point, there are thousands of publications demonstrating that this stuff works. One of the criticisms that I sometimes hear in the space is, well, there's no double-blind, placebo-controlled trials, blah, 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 this kind of thing. That whole system of double-blind, placebo-controlled trials is set up for drugs, because there's the drug, there's the sugar pill, you can compare it, and then you move ahead. For surgeries, there's no such thing. And I don't need a double-blind, placebo-controlled trial to know that I heal myself. If I cut my arm right now, I know that heals. So what's the science that does it? It's the stem cells in my body. So why would I mess with technology that's been around longer than any of us have been around? I think sometimes this kind of academic and, this, we have to do this, trust the science. No, that's not what this is about. Trust the body that is yours, that you've been given, that has the ability to heal. And do not give your power away to somebody in a white coat. That's insane.
That's such a huge takeaway. Like, I think, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think most people, they trust doctors to a fault. Like, I had a friend who recently, she had a brain tumor, and the doctor gave her, bad news. She said, "Oh, you're gonna die," and it's like, "Oh, are you sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, this is like, you should put your stuff in order. Like, you're get your will, like all the things. You're going to die. You probably have a year, maybe less, and now it's like 3 years. She didn't take that as her prognosis, right? She actually said, you know what, I'm going to heal myself. She went on like the Gershon protocol, which, she ate natural food. Like she just went full in, and the tumor like stopped growing, and then it now subsided. And it's like, this happens more often than not, right? When you actually listen to your own body, go back to what God intended, right? Like eat healthy foods, move, get sunlight, just like basic things that a lot of people we don't do. We live inside, we get toxic blue light, we get pummeled by electromagnetic frequencies all day with our devices. Like, we're not doing the things that we know serve us. And then when a doctor tells us that, hey, this is what you need to do to get better, which is a pill or some type of drug, or it doesn't make sense if you logically think about it. And I think, to your point, again, stem cells are already doing their job inside the body. What you're doing with US Stem Cell Clinic and now with, Infinite Impact Health, your other business and your other, different companies that you started, like you're just utilizing what the body is already producing, and you're doing it, in a pinpointed, surgical manner, right? When it comes to that actual process, let's say someone came to you right now and they were like, hey, this sounds great, Dr. Kristin, I'm considering stem cells. Like, walk us through that procedure, just high level.
Yep. So most of the procedures that we're doing right now are tissue bank products. So when a live birth is happening, so when a woman is going to the hospital and having a birth, we can isolate cells from the cord blood. We can isolate cells from the placenta or any sort of birth tissue, Wharton's jelly, etc. And these cells are the stem cells, mesenchymal stem cells to be more specific. And those are the ones that we want to use to promote this healing cascade, this regenerative response. So those, they're screened, we keep them frozen, ready to go. So when someone comes in, we can essentially get that vial and directly inject.
Why those ones specifically? Because this is a very important point.
So some people will say that younger would be better. I'm going to push back on this a little bit.
Okay.
Because the studies that were done to say that the younger cells, outperform the older, they're a little bit not so clean. That they're not exactly what you would think, because it's talking about what would happen inside a petri dish. So if I took cells from, a young person and took cells from an old person, okay, maybe the old person's cells would take longer to grow, or, whatever would happen. But that doesn't represent what happens inside you. You are always going to be limited by you. So the cells that you're injecting in are kind of irrelevant. They're going to kick up your response. So really, it's you that's the limiting age factor. So yes, in a petri dish, can younger cells grow faster, better, whatever? Yeah. But as far as stimulating a response inside your own body, it may not matter.
Okay.
So those studies haven't exactly been done, like more in vivo, like what happens inside.
Got
that being
it. Okay.
said, they're easy. They're stored, they're frozen, they're ready to go. We pull them, boom, pull it out, inject your knee. So the procedure is quite simple. It's an easy knee injection, or whatever we're injecting, shoulder, etc., whatever it is. So it's like if you would go to your doctor to get any other, like if you were getting a cortisone injection, it's the same kind of process. We clean the area, inject, and then you walk out. So you're not limited. You're not limited as far as having to be on crutches or movements. You can resume your normal activities. So no downtime that would be associated with surgeries. So that makes it just so easy, so feasible for people to help heal.
Okay. So, and one thing I just want to extract and echo is like, you are literally walking out of the procedure, like that's what was crazy to me is like, oh, my ACL, I literally like had to have crutches or a wheelchair to get out of that joint,
Yeah.
for the procedure at US Stem Cell Clinic, when I got it done for my knee, I walked right out and it was like, ain't no thing, So it's just, that's the power of this. This is why and I don't want to get too deep into this because I want this podcast to get heard and not banned, but this is why the government and big pharma are like so panicking and even have, lawsuits, which we don't have to get into, but like this is why they're so protective of this technology really become mainstream, widely adopted, is because it's non-invasive truly, and there's no place for them to insert their cut. Like you're using your cells to heal your body. There's no drugs, there's no follow-up really care, right? It's just like, here, heal yourself. Your body knows what to do with those cells. So it's just powerful that this is now something that is even like a potential offering when you are injured. I recommend everybody, before you get another surgery, literally before you even go to a doctor, explore regenerative medicine and just have the conversation with a professional like Dr. Kristin and just see if stem cells could potentially heal what your ailment is. Because it's not for like if you get in a car accident and you break your arm in half, like that, it's not like gonna set your arm, right? You need to get your arm set, but it could potentially help heal that faster. So it's like there's some things that Western medicine you have to, what we can lean on, like for these what is your filter, I guess? Like how do you look at injuries? What's like this is a regenerative medicine issue, or this is something else? What's the filter?
They're kind of on a case by case, but there's a lot of different ways that we can stimulate a regenerative response. Okay. So it's not just injections. There are things we can do with light therapy or magnetic therapy, to kick up that regenerative response inside you. So not everything, we also do something called acoustic sound wave. Not everything has to involve a needle. So there's some things that we can do. And if we are using a needle, there's some different tools that we have. So anything from platelet-rich plasma, which is something from your blood, to different growth factors, exosomes, different things that we can do to help heal. So you kind of touched on it a little bit, but U.S. Stem Cell Clinic is no more.
Okay.
It does not exist. So the facility now where we do clinic treatments is called Infinite Impact. And kind of just to touch on it a little bit, and I know people might be interested in this just because it is kind of an interesting story. The government chose to come after me because they didn't want people using their own stem cells to heal. So, we were using before, which is when you had come to us, the stem cells from people's fat tissue, and it works tremendously well. Like you can isolate some fat tissue, use those cells, and help them heal with their own cells. So the government had come and said, hey, stop saying that. If you don't say that or stop doing these procedures, we're going to come after you with this lawsuit. As a matter of fact, here's the draft lawsuit, and it reads, the United States of America versus Kristin Comella. Yeah. And I didn't even know that was an option. Like, what do you mean, the United States of America? Who is the United? What does that mean? Yeah. And so they said yes, and our lawyers are the Department of Justice. Holy what? I didn't know that was an opportunity that could happen. And I swear to God, the thing that I Googled is, how many people get sued by the United States of America? And so, being the eternal optimist,
only the chosen one.
Yes, I'm in some sort of elite club. And so, they gave me an opportunity to back away. They said, sign this consent decree, exit out of the space, and go away, and we won't come after you. And I did not sign that. And I said, I'll see you in court. But also thinking like, yay, everything's fair and I can win. So unfortunately, my trial was canceled 1 week before my trial, and the judge did a ruling and said I side with the government because there's this thing called our deference, which says that we are to give deference to the agency, the FDA and the United States of America, to interpret their own rules as they see fit, and I don't need to hear Kristin Comella speak one word. I side with the government. So my trial was canceled, and I didn't know that was a possibility. I thought everyone deserves a trial. We get to go and speak our case. And, I had patients lined up who were going to take the stand. I mean, it was like going to be a whole thing, but I didn't get to do any of that. Now, at the same time, there was a trial brought in California against some other doctors. And that judge allowed the trial to go forward. So this has all taken years and years and years. That judge sided with the doctors and said the government is wrong. You know, they don't have the rights to the cells inside our body. Pharma doesn't own those cells. You know, those are the property of me. And so now that's in an appeal. So I have to wait for that court appeal before I can kind of come back in and fight. Now, the thing that's interesting and super corrupt, and I'd tell you all sorts of corrupt stuff within the FDA, but that would probably bore your audience to tears. But the one that was most interesting is that my judge quit the bench, quit being a judge about a month after my trial, and she joined the board of directors of a competing stem cell company.
Wow.
What? We got him. We got him, right? No, we didn't get him. So yeah, I sit and wait, but it's okay. I mean, we still can do plenty of other procedures, but you know, that's why we can't do that specific procedure, and U.S. Stem Cell Clinic does not exist.
Got it. Yeah.
But so many things that I can do for patients to help them heal.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I just want to highlight you as a fighter, because like that is such a bold, courageous move to take on the government and pharma. And like, I know they like basically used you as an example. Like they were going to make an example of Dr. Kristin, because she was like a pioneer in the industry and still is. We're going to make an example of her. And, you know, I'll tell you, I have chills even thinking about like you and how brave you are. And I know, like, just from being a friend of yours, like internally how hard it was on you and your family. And like, that is like the craziest, you know, like lose, because like, how do you beat them at their own game? And they make up the rules,
they make the rules. So they have their own lawyers. They pay. Yeah. They use our money to pay for the lawyers.
Yeah. It's unreal.
So they bankrupt you. They come after you with every agency. I had agencies, 3-letter agencies I've never heard of. I was like, what? I've never heard of that group.
Yeah. HIV. I thought that was what? No. Anyway, but I'm just saying, like, this is.
And then they use the media.
Yeah.
The media prints some crazy stuff. They go after you. They make stuff up, and they don't care. Like, there's no recourse. Like, who do I call? Like, I want to complain about the New York Times. Yeah. There's no one to call. Like, it's just.
No, it is. I mean, appalling. Is the word that comes to mind. Like how fucked you are when you get that lawsuit.
I was kind of like, when and there was never a doubt in I didn't even stop to think about, like, do I fight or do I cave? Yeah. I was like, oh, fight, definitely. Yeah. But you know why? I report to a higher power. I don't report to the United States of America. Like, come on. And when I'm at the end of my life, like, I'm not going to be like, damn, I wish I hadn't done that. Like, it's going to be like, that was fun. What a good ride.
Yeah, right. I mean, you definitely lived. And, you know, what's really cool is, like, you're still doing it. You're still helping patients. Absolutely. You've persevered. You have infinite impact, you know, which is still treating people with regenerative medicine. And I just want to, you know, like, kind of talk a little bit more about the current moment where with Infinite Impact. I know you're opening another facility in Boca Raton, Florida, where people are from all over the world are flying in to get these like amazing stem cells. Talk to us about this new facility and what's all included.
Yeah. So I also have the facility that's in Weston, which is Biohackers Health and Fitness. And so it's a lot of therapies plus like a fitness component. And at that place we do classes. Like, we even have yoga. We do yoga under red lights. We do meditations, etc. So this new facility is a little bit more medical in nature. So we have the clinic stuff. We have all of the therapies. So hyperbaric, pulsed magnetic, red light therapy. But then we have different programs. So we have programs called the Metabolic Reboot. So this is for people that say, no matter what I do, I can't lose weight. I'm tired all the time. I can't keep up with my children. You know, I'm taking 5-10 pills, but it's not working. My doctor says my blood works okay, but I don't feel okay. So this is who we're helping. And so that, you know, the programs involve appropriate fitness, not over fitness. We start with what's a 9-minute routine, and it begins with teaching them how to do diaphragmatic breathing. We do appropriate nutrition, fueling our bodies. And I find that a lot of the people that present to us, they're actually starving themselves and overtraining. You know, like, all I ate today was lettuce and I did 4 spinning classes. I'm like, what? No, it's not a good idea.
Right.
So, you know, teaching people about how to take care of this machine. And then one of the most important pieces, mindset.
Mm.
I mean, it's everything. It's everything.
So true.
So teaching them different things that they can do to improve their mindset. Instead of I can't, we begin with maybe.
Yeah.
Just changing that pathway, getting some neurons to fire together to create some new mindsets that just become part of their life.
Yeah. And that's really what's cool about your facilities is they're holistic, truly. Like in nature, it's not just, come in and get stem cells, which you can if you want, but it's also like a broader approach to just overall wellness and like the natural approach. I gotta say, I love going to Biohackers Health and Fitness. When I come to Florida, I go there. We used to take clients there. I was just there over Thanksgiving break. And amazing. Like they have the hyperbaric chambers, which was good for my carbon monoxide poisoning to flush that out.
Sure.
I did the VASPER, the ARX, the adaptive resistance training. They have cryo, which I put my mom in, and she was less than thrilled at the temperature because she's like, oh my God, it's so cold. They have PEMF, which is, just explain PEMF real quick for those who don't know.
Yep. So we are a complex electrical grid. And every single one of our cells has a voltage associated with it. And when your cell is a little bit unhappy, the voltage goes down. So in order to bring the voltage back up, we can use magnets. So making a pulsed magnet to increase the voltage of the cell makes the cells happy. When your cells are happy, you're happy. So if you have a cell that's kind of cranky and past the point, it's referred to as an apoptotic cell. And it's really a suicidal cell. But sometimes like when you get like this suicidal cell and you have a lot of what are called free radicals inside your body, so it's like molecules that have become cranky because they've lost an electron, you start to get this tissue breakdown and tissue degradation. And when you are in a state of chronic inflammation creates more inflammation. You kind of get stuck in that state. So by using these pulsed magnets, you can kind of change the course of that. You can help to increase your blood flow, change the health of each individual cells, and then improve the communication between the cells. I really love it. I try to do it almost every single day, and you can target. So like, oh my gosh, my shoulder hurts today. Boom, target that. Or you could just do whole body. I mean, even brain, think about anything that's more neurological related, like depression, anxiety. All of this is inflammation in the brain. So if we bring down that inflammation, we can change the course of some of those emotional disorders.
Yeah, that's what's crazy to think about, how it's all connected. Like your thoughts, your actions, your injuries, it's all connected. And at the smallest cellular level, it really, without getting too nerdy, because actually I'm not able to, given my knowledge, but the mitochondria, right, are the powerhouses of those cells, right? And you need to charge those up. Sure. Sunlight. Just talk about some of the basic things people can do to charge their mitochondria and just to increase overall cellular health.
Yeah, I mean, get out in the sun. So I try to take as many calls as I can outside and just walk around. And I don't wear SPF. I don't recommend wearing SPF as a daily thing. Now, if you're going to go fry yourself at the beach, you got to wear some protection, but that's different. Like going outside and getting a little sun exposure for a few minutes at a time, that's fabulous. It's so good for your brain. It's so good for your emotions. And I mean, you need that. You need the nutrients that are coming off, and it helps with your hormonal balances. You can go barefoot in the grass. I mean, that's something super simple, and that's about balancing the molecules in your body. So that helps to balance the free radical process, like literally getting back to earth, and breathing. I do different breath exercises every single day, and just with some of those different breath techniques, bringing down your heart rate, bringing down your blood pressure. Something super simple to do if you feel like anxious, anxiety, bend over and touch your toes. Just by getting your head down, you can drop your heart rate, you can drop your cortisol levels. That's a super, super simple technique. Just different body movements and I think just kind of put everything in perspective. Like, I think a good question that I ask myself is, will this matter when I'm 90?
Yeah.
The answer
So
is no.
true.
It doesn't really matter now either.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Well said. Just in terms of like the reversing chronic disease component, because I know that's a larger topic, but there's a lot of people who lifestyle choices cause, chronic issues, disease, ailments, etc. When it comes to reversing those chronic diseases, what do you recommend?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things is what you put in your body. So this is your nutrition, your food, but something as simple as, are you wearing lotion that has chemical fragrance? That's affecting you. Your skin that's right into the bloodstream. So whatever you're putting on your skin, would you drink it? If the answer is no, you should not be putting it on your skin. So like skip all that stuff, because I like to think of it as like a bucket. It's like your stress bucket. And so when that bucket gets overfilled, you have chronic disease. So if the only unhealthy thing you're doing is using fragrant lotion, will it give you a chronic disease? Well, not necessarily, but chances are you're doing a lot of things. It's not just your fragrant lotion.
Yeah.
So it's all of this going into your bucket and it spills over and now you have diabetes. So clear the bucket out and get rid of the easy stuff that you can get rid of. So there might be some things that you choose to keep in your life, like, okay, well, I really want to use my hair dye, or whatever it is that you choose to keep as like your toxic. Like every now and then I like to have a glass of wine or whatever it is. Okay, but then get rid of the easy stuff. And that's going to help to bring down the stress on your body. It's all about stress on your body. That's what leads to chronic disease. And disease is a continuum. It's not a switch. Like when I have diabetes. Well, when did that happen? Last week. No, you got diagnosed last week.
Yeah.
You've been creating diabetes since you were about 15.
So true. Yeah. No, that is. And you have to just be honest with yourself too. Like all the happy hustlers out there, like take stock and really how you feel. And maybe you do need to make some changes. Let this be the catalyst, with Dr. Kristin, just keeping it real. Like this is all part of, change. It's just first step awareness, right? So I do want to give you a chance. If someone does want to go a step further, reach out to you and your team and potentially get stem cells or even come to Florida, or maybe they live in Florida, where can people go to get more information? And I know you also have something cool for the Happy Hustlers. So yeah, maybe you could just give us a couple links.
Yep. So the Infinite Impact Health website is going to be good. And then we have a link set up where they can get a free red light treatment. So if they click there, they can come and get a free treatment with us, and would love to meet any of the people that are part of your audience. They can sit with me personally.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, guys, check it out. We'll link it all up in the show notes, but infiniteimpacthealth.com. And then we have the free link where you can sign up to get the infrared treatment and meet Dr. Kristin. If you do want to go to Florida and potentially get stem cells, skip the surgery, or invasive surgery, and get the stem cells. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. I am so excited to share with you the latest Montana Mastermind Epic Adventure. Now, I will say, due to many requests, we are doing a winter edition of the Montana Mastermind Epic Adventures. This means if you want to come skiing and snowboarding in Montana this upcoming March 2023, you can apply to come and kick it with me in person, shred some pow, and just be around a like-minded, happy, hustling, badass entrepreneurs who are all making over six figures, who are heart-centered, and who actually care about infusing passion, purpose, and a positive impact into their daily existence. We have so many cool things lined up. In addition to just skiing and snowboarding on amazing mountain Montana runs, we are going to be soaking at thermal hot springs. We are going to be doing some ice fishing and hiking and campfires and all sorts of cool activities. We're staying at a mountain mansion that is absolutely stunning. We have a professional chef who's going to be cooking up delicious, just amazing meals. And we have business masterminding going on where we're going to just work through your adversities and your challenges, as well as share other people's wins and your wins so that we can all learn from the collective wisdom. Just having fun, mixing business with pleasure, all in the beautiful Montana wilderness. I got to say, I love me some masterminds, and this one is going to be epic. So if you want in, apply today at carriejack.com/Montana. And I will say, spots are very limited. We cannot take very many people in this winter edition. It's already got a lot of interest and a lot of people signed up. And it's going to be a small, intimate gathering. So if you want in, jump on it before 2023 ends, or before 2023 starts, rather. So jump on it, carriejack.com/Montana. And I hope to see you on the slopes in Montana soon. Peace and love, y'all. Let's get back to this episode. Now, Dr. Kristin, I do want to just ask you a couple traditional happy hustle hack questions. These are, a tip to a tactic that we can deem a happy hustle hack.
Okay.
And first, we talked a lot about health, but maybe something unique that we haven't talked about that you do that we could, call a happy hustle hack in the health arena.
Okay. I was thinking about this because I thought maybe I should mention this. I have this theory of 5. And what it is think about the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with. And if those people are not good people that you like, that you enjoy being around, that you want to be like, you better eliminate them. Because you will commingle your cells with those people. You do not stop at your skin. You go beyond that. So this is physics. I'm not that's not made up. This is, part of the quantum. And when you commingle your cells, they start integrating and behaving similar. So you better be cautious about the 5 people that you are around the most. And it's the kind of thing where I'm like, quit your job now if that's one of the people you got to eliminate. It's that serious. Take that one seriously. And it's about commingling of your cells. Don't commingle with bad cells.
Oh, powerful. Yeah. I mean, you are the sum of your 5 closest relationships, as Dr. Kristin said. So choose wisely. Let's talk about money. I think money is an important topic. It's an energy, right? It's a tool. It makes you more oftentimes of who you really are, right?
Sure.
So do you have a tip, a tool, a tactic, maybe something that you do to save, invest, or spend money wisely that you could share with the happy hustlers in this arena?
So my personal technique is to try and release fear about money. I think we all have fear about money. And one of the things I'll sometimes say to myself is, nobody's going to let me live in a gutter. Like I have people in my life, they'll be like, okay, time to get out of the gutter. So, I think that's once you let go of that fear, okay, I lost all my money. Okay, well, I have a friend that would let me stay, or whatever it is. It's okay. You cannot take it with you when you go. Don't be afraid to be poor. And I guess that's more the entrepreneur in me. Don't be afraid to take everything you have and put it into something you believe, which is always what I do with the business. I'm like, okay, we're going to do this new business. I'm going to take everything I have and put it in the new business. It's okay. You can't take it with you. Believe in something and put all your money in it. And then it comes back.
Yep. I love that. Simple, yet so profound. Let's talk about spirituality. I think it's always important to have faith in something bigger than yourself, right? I mean, and not necessarily one religion or another. I don't think I think it's just important to believe in a greater power. Do you have something in this arena, something that you do maybe that's a little unique that we could deem a happy hustle hack in spirituality?
Yeah, so growing up, I was raised Catholic, and as a matter of fact, went to all girls Catholic school growing up. And in high school, I said to my mother, Mom, I'm not sure if I believe in God. And she said, well, neither do I, but you're still Catholic. What? This might not be the right religion for me. And so, and I guess a lot of this was I was going into science, and I think that's common for scientists to become kind of atheists. And I almost kind of got swept up in that. And I a little bit got lost. I almost didn't know who I was. I was married to the science, if that makes sense. And when like this, you know, the United States of America, that whole thing started happening, like I a little bit came back to God. And I don't know, like, is God the right word, source, whatever, something bigger than me? And it was more just like, oh my God, stop being so naive. Like, you're not the greatest thing in the universe. Like, free yourself from that ego.
Yeah.
So it was like I had to just surrender to something bigger. You know, like there's something bigger. Like this isn't, you know, just Kristen's world, and you know, like what's gonna.
Yeah.
And so when I did that, like so many things just kind of opened for me. And as a matter of fact, the idea for biohackers came out of that. Like I was like, I got on my knees and I just was like crying, you know, like, what do you want from me? Because like the government and every agency they had was coming after, and I'm, you know, like I'm trying to help people, you know, and I'm swearing, you know, like this kind of thing. And I walked downstairs and my husband says, who were you talking to? I said, God. What do you mean? And what happened when I started screaming is the ideas came faster than I could take them. It was like, I don't know, download, upload, whatever you want to call it, to the brain. And it was the ideas for biohackers and, you know, just like all of these businesses that were to come. And they were a gift, really. They were a gift to me. So where did that come from? Source, God, what? Something bigger than me. And I just started writing furiously. My husband said, what are you doing? So I know what we're going to do next. Let's go. Let's go. So yeah, I'm a believer.
I love it. I think it's important to believe 100%. I pray every day. I think there's so much divine wisdom out there if you just listen. So this was awesome, Kristin. I want to put you through the rapid fire round real quick, and then we'll wrap this interview up. So this is where I ask you something random and you just answer honestly first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Favorite food? Go.
Oh shit. Meatballs. Like hamburger. Ground beef.
Favorite movie? Go.
Better Off Dead from the 80s.
Favorite book?
Surrender Experiment.
Oh, nice. I know Mickey.
Yeah.
Favorite workout? I'm curious.
Yoga.
Okay. What's your spirit animal?
In my meditation the other day, a bear came.
Ooh, I can see that. Best business advice?
Don't be afraid.
3 things you're most grateful for?
My family. All of them.
More than 3. Yep. I like it. And if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content on it, what's that billboard read?
My cells, my choice.
Ooh, I love it. Man, you crushed that rapid fire round. And Dr. Kristin, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you just for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, and your courage with us. And, you know, just I so appreciate you. I mean, how you show up in the world, how you've shown up for me and my family. I just really appreciate our connection and what you do. And I just am really proud of you too, even though that's weird to say, but I just like for who you are. So thank you. Thank you again. Yeah. And then I do want to just say, where can people go to learn more about you if they want to see stuff online? And also mention, you know, Infinite Impact in that link again one last time.
Yeah, probably the website's the best. I have social media, Facebook and Twitter, but I barely ever go on there. And if people write me a note, I won't even know. They're better going to the business. Yeah. Okay. Plus, I probably post like conspiracy stuff up there. So.
Right on. Okay. Last question. And before I ask you that, I do want to just hear your final call to action for everyone out there listening.
Yeah, go to Infinite Impact Health.
But no, just more so in terms of like overarching, like if you want something for them to take from our interview and like just go do this, like just, you know, take care of your health or whatever, like something that they could do, maybe a call to action besides obviously go to your infiniteimpacthealth.com.
Yeah, freedom from fear. Let it go.
Let it go. Yeah, that's good. Freedom from fear. All right, final question. What does happy hustling mean to you?
Oh, this is fabulous. I love it.
Well, what does it mean to you, the happy hustling?
Your specific podcast or like the terms?
Just like the overarching term. I ask all my guests this, so I'm curious, what's your answer?
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, it means you're super busy all day, but you gotta love it.
Yep, that's true. Mic drop. Dr. Kristin Comella, Thank you again, and thank you all for watching and listening. We are out. Peace and love.